Hello dear listener, please subscribe to our channel. Enjoy watching. It's strange how a man can lose everything without realizing it, how you can stand in the middle of your own life and have no clue how the walls are slowly crumbling. That's how it started for me, a man whose world was perfectly normal, until I started noticing the cracks. At first, they were small, things you could dismiss as inconsequential, a missing key, a text message deleted before I had a chance to read it, the faintest traces of perfume on her clothes that didn't belong to me. But those things, like water slowly eroding stone, began to carve deeper into my understanding of what was really going on. I was married to Lily, the love of my life, or at least, that's what I thought. We'd been together for 8 years, and our relationship had always been smooth. She was beautiful, intelligent, always charming in social settings, and together we had built a life that many would envy, a house in the suburbs, a dog, vacations that always seemed just a little too perfect. There were no signs, no shouting matches or glaring red flags. Our life was the illusion of perfection. But then came the mirrors. Not literal mirrors, at least not at first, but the reflection of her behavior. Lily's demeanor shifted. She became distant in small but noticeable ways. She'd come home later from work, her mind seemingly elsewhere. When we talked, it was almost like she wasn't listening, like her mind had already wandered off. I told myself it was just stress from work. The world is busy, and people get lost in it. But when you stand too close to something, you can't see the bigger picture. So, I did what any reasonable man would do, I turned the other cheek. I gave her space. I assumed everything was fine. Until the night I discovered it was all a lie. It was late, and I was in my office, working on some paperwork. Lily had gone to bed early, which was unlike her, and when I went to check on her, I found her phone on the counter. Without thinking, I picked it up. I know. It's a violation of privacy. But in that moment, I didn't care. My gut told me something was wrong. I opened the phone. The first thing I saw was a text message, clear as day, *, can't wait to see you again tonight. It's been too long. *, the name on the message didn't belong to any of her friends. It wasn't a colleague. It was him. Jacob. I knew Jacob. He was a business partner, a trusted colleague of mine. He'd come over to our house for dinner several times, spent weekends golfing with me. We were close. So close, in fact, that when Lily and I started having issues a year ago, I'd confided in him. He'd given me advice on how to fix things, how to communicate better with my wife. He was my friend. Or at least, I thought he was. The world tilted beneath me as I reread the message. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I couldn't. Everything I knew, everything I trusted, started to unravel, thread by thread. My heart pounded, my skin flushed cold with the knowledge that the man I called a friend, the woman I trusted more than anyone, had been lying to me for months, maybe longer. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I needed time to think, to plan. I was furious, yes, but I was also calculating. I had to be smart about this. The last thing I wanted was to give her the satisfaction of seeing me broken, seeing me weak. No, I wasn't going to let her win. If she thought she was clever, I'd show her what true deception looked like. Over the next few days, I watched, I waited, and I listened. I played the dutiful husband, the man who had no idea what was going on behind his back. I followed the breadcrumbs they left behind, each clue confirming my worst fear. There were phone calls, secret meetings, stolen glances. It was all there, plain as day. And still, I kept my composure, because the game wasn't over yet. The game was just beginning. I had an idea. A sick, twisted idea. Something that would make them both see their betrayal for what it truly was. A punishment that would strip away their illusions and leave them exposed, raw, and vulnerable. I was going to turn the tables on them in a way they never expected. I set the stage. I reached out to Jacob under the guise of wanting to talk business. I suggested we meet in person, just the two of us. The plan was simple. I would convince him to come to my house under the pretext of discussing a new opportunity. Once he was inside, I would lock the doors, turn off the lights, and reveal everything. It would be a confrontation like no other, one that would make him feel as small as he had made me feel. But I didn't stop there. The real revenge was going to be on Lily. I knew how much she valued her appearance, her beauty, her image. I decided to make her see herself as she truly was, a liar, a cheat, someone unworthy of the life we had built together. I installed mirrors in every room of the house, dozens of them, until the entire place was an endless reflection of her. Each mirror would reflect her betrayal, every angle showing the truth. I knew that when she entered, she would see herself for the first time, not as the woman she believed she was, but as the woman who had betrayed me. Her lover would have no choice but to face it too. They'd be trapped in a hall of mirrors, where they couldn't escape their guilt. The night came. Jacob showed up first, just as planned. He had no idea what was coming. Lily was late, as usual. I waited, standing in the middle of the room, the lights dimmed. When she walked through the door, the look of confusion on her face was almost comical. She didn't know what was happening, didn't understand why the house was silent and still. But then she saw him. Jacob. She froze. Her eyes darted to me, and in that instant, I saw her guilt, the realization of what I had done. But she didn't say anything. She didn't have to. The mirrors said it all. There they were, reflected 1,000 times, trapped in their own lies. I could see them both squirm, their faces shifting with panic as the full weight of their actions hit them. But I wasn't finished. I stepped into the center of the room, the flickering light casting strange shadows on the walls. "You thought you were clever, didn't you?" I said, my voice cold and steady. "You thought you could play me for a fool. But you're the ones who've been fooled all along. I knew from the beginning. And now, you'll both have to face the consequences." I took a deep breath and let the silence settle in, the tension thickening. "This is your punishment," I said. "Not physical. No, I'm not like you. I won't lower myself to that. But this is something you'll never forget." I walked over to the mirrors. Each one had a small device hidden behind it, cameras, speakers, all recording their every reaction. I pressed a button, and the first image appeared on the wall, a photo of them, taken by me, of their secret rendezvous. The next mirror flashed with images of texts, phone calls, their private conversations. And then, I hit play. I had recorded everything. Every laugh, every stolen kiss, every lie they'd told. I made them watch it, together. The tapes rolled on for what felt like hours. They begged, they cried, but I didn't care. They had taken everything from me. Now, they had to face their own reflection, their own guilt, without any way to escape. In the end, I walked out of the room and left them there, trapped in a maze of mirrors, surrounded by their own lies. The final twist. As I stepped out into the night, I realized something that made my stomach churn. The punishment I had inflicted on them was nothing compared to what was coming for me. I had built my revenge so carefully, so meticulously. But in the process, I had forgotten one thing: I was the one who would have to live with the consequences of my actions. The mirrors didn't just reflect them, they reflected me too. And the reflection I saw staring back at me wasn't one of a victim. It was the face of a man who had become just as twisted, just as broken, as the people I had sought to destroy. And in that moment, I realized, there was no escaping the mirror. If you leave a comment, tell us what you think about the story you heard. It's important to us and will help us find and tell stories that you find interesting. Thank you for watching us.